they started being very close and was friend of Mandela. And when Mandela was gone, they were friends with Thabo. Whilst I was there, as I say, they saw me coming from his home. I've never did anything with them, unlawfully or whatever. They just remained friends, as they were friends to everybody else. I've explained how my son got onto them when he looked for a different kind of business people to work with. And I've wondered why I am accused, why people think that my relationship with them is not right when they had relationship with other people. 2 other presidents have had relations with them. In fact, more stronger with Comrade Thabo Mbeki. He himself has appeared talking at times addressing them in the social media. Why should business people and successful business people? They knew a lot of business people who are also in the ANC, and I think some might have worked with them. I'm not a business person. I know nothing about business. I'm a politician. I know something about politics. Because of the fact that they are comrades, they're accepted, and I realized that they seem to be not just small little business, they are quite substantial. There had been a problem that worried us, all of us, that in this country, the media is very biased. At all material times, it's just critical. It criticizes the country, etc. There is no alternative voice. And if people could complain and say I abused them, that one I could plead guilty. Because I then one day, having known that we have been trying to have business who are progressive, to establish a media sort of alternative voice of what is happening. I think even people who are ANC members had tried even to partner with other people. It had never worked. At that time, I was the president of the ANC. I then said to them, men, and making a suggestion, can you try a business, a media business? Because we are comrades, we need an alternative voice. There are many attempts that have been made before by progressive people, but they've never worked. Is it possible that you could establish a newspaper? They'd never thought of the idea. And we discussed this. They finally said, I think it's a good idea because it is business as well. I said, fine. So they said, no, we'll do something about it. They came back to say now they've decided they want to establish a newspaper. As soon as they agreed, because this was me as an individual talking about what we had seen as a problem, that the media in this country is very negative. In fact, a number of things that are done, which they're supposed to be reported about, at times they don't see the light of day, only negativity. Once they agreed, I then thought it would be important for me to make one person aware of this, one leader, who was the Secretary General of the ANC, Gwede Mantashe. I said, Gwede, I've talked to these comrades for them to do their business. And they seem to be warm to the idea. And then After that, I also informed the Deputy Secretary General about this, to say this is an initiative of these comrades, but it's an important one. We as politicians pay a lot of attention to media, also running countries, because we would want, for an example, a fair reporting. At times, the reporting in our country is not fair. So, they were happy as well. So I said, man, so that you know I'm not just talking. One day I would be happy if you could see them and hear how they're thinking of it. They've been thinking about it. So the two comrades and myself listened to them at one time when they wanted to say how they want to go about this thing. So I agreed. When they were about when they were moving forward, they then said, can you help? Asking me, give us a name. You don't know how to call this newspaper. So I said to them, there used to be struggle publications we used to have, called Spark, Fighting Talk, New Age, etc. So I gave all these names. They loved this name, New Age. And that's how the paper was named. So they established a newspaper and started working. We're very happy. They even discussed that they are going to report about provinces in this paper, so that there's no province that is not reported to. As always, they are not in the national newspapers, except there's a big thing. Let's do something different, as I was saying. When this paper was operating and really being appreciated in the country, to bring about an alternative voice, I then said, man, the newspaper, fine, we have succeeded. I don't know, and I was thinking whether I could push them further. So I said to them, this is very successful. What about a TV channel? I suggested the paper to them, I suggested the channel. Somebody can then say we're abusing this friendship. It was never the other way around. It's me who put them into trouble. Because I said, your paper is so successful. I'm sure your TV thing can be successful. And they agreed, they said it's a good idea. And they moved on it. I know that people who had problems had a lot to say about this. I thought it was a very good thing that they did. There was no law broken there. There was no wrong things done. I discussed with business people many things when I was still in the government. Even suggest certain things can't you do in your business. This was a normal kind of interaction. So they established this. And indeed, the ANN 7 brought a fresh air in the country in terms of reporting, in terms of putting across progressive ideas. It was never a backdoor thing or that there's a corruption about it, nothing. Clear suggestion about business, and business people took it. They then fetch their people wherever it was. I'm making this point because that relationship ended up, insofar as we are concerned, who want media that is progressive, helping to have this media that was able to report differently. That is an extent of the kind of friendship we had. I think they invite always many people for their functions, yearly functions, and people go there. Somehow, because this was me, people thought that we found something to implement that plan. Because Zuma is friend to this, let us say his relationship with Gupta's is corrupt. And I don't know, where is it corrupt? Few comrades raised the matter with me. I asked, what is the wrong thing? What is wrong? They couldn't tell me. In fact, one time it was raised in the National Executive Committee. I made an explanation how I came to know this. And nobody said it is wrong. There was nothing wrong. But some people were irritated. I don't know why. Besides this, I even explained this in the National Executive Committee, that we just talked with them. One comrade, Isopad, is actually working with them in a publication called The Thinker. He was editor. I think at the end, that business ended up with him. Nobody says anything about that. Nobody says anything about the relationship between them and Mandela, between them and Mbeki. But because there's a narrative to be done with Zuma, there is something wrong. And nobody's telling me what is wrong with me, what is not wrong with other people, including other comrades. But some people thought, this is what we are going to get Zuma. That's why they influenced the process to establish this commission, to find Zuma. They've been friends, and they were friends, and they worked with my son, and there was absolutely no problem. In fact, I was waiting to hear, what is it that they did wrong? There is nothing more that I can say, these are the things we did. I'm mentioning this because to me, these were important. The media thing, the newspaper and the channel. We talked to them. Once the idea was ripe, they then went to brief the top 6 officials about the initiative they were undertaking. They also briefed the alliance. They also briefed provinces. And they also, I think, like all newspapers, talked to people in government for advertisement or whatever. What's wrong with that? No, it's because they happen to know Zuma. They become friends to Zuma. Then there's something wrong. Now, I couldn't take people who are raising issues on this matter when they have no complaint, just to say, no, we don't like them. Never did I discuss anything that does not belong to them. I'm told that they were appointing ministers. Where do they come in? Why they should do so? Was I not capable of doing my work? That I needed other people? Do a lot of consultation with the leadership when it comes to placing people or forming cabinet or whatever. I've never done it alone. What's the problem? Of course, unfortunately, those who came never said, this is what has happened. They just say wrong things, blah, 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 blah. It's important for us to clarify that point. some people were so irritated and I did not know how to explain that one. These were comrades, these were business people. I was introduced to them, even at a very high level of the ANC, and that's how I got to know them. And that's why my son felt if he went to them and joined them and become partner to them, these are people he can work and succeed. And I thought there was no problem. But he has been crucified for that. Well, in terms of the Guptas, unless there was anything which, if when the time comes, I will come to, let me come back to the issue of the plan, the unfolding of the plan. The people who come deal with the issues. I have been attacked, even when I'm coming here. Part of the reason we have more visitors today than any other time, because I'm here. Some people I know for a fact might know that I know things about them, and therefore they are not going to like me. But I've behaved for decades. I've not played around with intelligence information. I've lived with people who don't know I know about them. Because that was not what I was trained for, to use intelligence wrongly or carelessly. But these comrades have provoked me and other people. Not only them, some other people had said things. For an example, one day, Comrade Mbalula attended an activity in the farm or home of Mr. Robert. And when Robert saw him, he said, Minister Mbalula, when that happened, he was the Minister of Sports. If Zuma takes out remove Pravin Gordhan, would shut down the economy of this country. We must go and tell him. And indeed, Mbalula came to tell me. I said, but what he has to do with us? I didn't know that he's a member of the ANC to decide how the ANC must deal with these matters. What is his problem? I said, go back to him to say that's his problem. But he said, we'll shut down, we'll make the rent flat on the ground. Well, fine. Indeed, they did interfere with the land, with the rent. I think there is one person who confessed not long this year that they did so. And I knew even at that time it was a deliberate move. Part of the agenda. I never thought I would be nasty to people. And I think I can be nasty. I've been over-provoked. People coming, saying things about me because I'm not going to revenge. perhaps some people that the planners at the beginning talked about, they've reached the point where they say they wanted them to reach. I don't know. I have survived attempts to kill me. People looking to poison me or being instructed by their handlers to do so. Finally, poisoned, a very dangerous poison. All emanates from those people who made the plan at the beginning. At some point they felt, I'm not disappearing. And therefore they must deal with me. Many attempts were made. Firstly, the court issue, for an example, was a way to get me out. I don't think there's a case in this country that finished 15 years going in and out, even if the judges say there's no case here. Those who remember, Judge Msimang, the late, said there was no case and he took it out of court. And those who remember, Judge Nicholson said there is no case here, this is just politics. And indeed, the tapes confirm what Nicholson was saying. But no newspaper will write that because the narrative is deal with Zuma. I'm still having the case. I have made an application that the case must go. They do everything to ensure that this case is there because it feeds to the narrative that Zuma must go. Everything I do, nothing. That is why, even the 9 years that I was in government, some people will say it was a wasted time. Even if they were party to implementing decisions, they were party taking those decisions. But when they talk about it, they are out of it, Zuma must account. It's absolutely important that we accept the fact that there is something we need to deal with as a country. The very fact that intelligence organizations, which today are key instruments to run countries, the war today is fought at intelligence level, no longer at the hard guns, etc. A worrying point is that one of our intelligence, which was still under the hands of the apartheid regime, conspired with two other intelligence organizations to do things in our country. And it means those who were negotiating with us, they were besfihlele induku emqubeni. Because we also know that at the time, a decision was taken that some of the agents who had been operating, getting pay from the apartheid regime. That the apartheid regime thought that they were not known by the ANC. There was an agreement between the intelligence organization here and the United States that those should be taken with their files to them. But they will remain with us. And they remain with us. And they are among us. And therefore, they have their bosses. They are handled to do things here. And that's why some of them were rushing to come here, because they found a platform to deal with Zuma. When, and I must say this, when we were in exile, at some point, having done a number of things, the organization gave me the task to be chief of intelligence. And there's a particular spy that I would say something about. It was called Ralph, but he had given himself the name Fear. Who infiltrated the ANC and caused a lot of damage. And because I had problems with him when I was still doing other work, when I was here, I made it a point that we come into grips with this. Some people have written a book with some information, distorted information on this particular character, as they were trying to give the sins of Zuma in some books. He operated in Swaziland and caused people to die. We finally arrested him. And indeed, he confessed he was a spy, well trained. Before, he was a student in the Western Cape, but it did not finish because there was a strike, they were chased out. He went to Durban to his sister. And during that time, he was recruited by the regime. Was taken to training for 6 months how to be a spy. And trained through the ANC literature, so that when he comes to exile, he must look like a bright student who catches so quickly, and yet is being taught on the material is being taught here by the apartheid regime. Came with his wife. It's a long story about him. And the wife herself was sent. So they had a marriage that was authorized by the police at the right time, a part of the cover. And was finally arrested and confessed.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the word the wife himself was, is it sacked?
Sorry?
I didn't hear what you said about the wife. Did you say his wife was sacked?
I said I was sent by the police, by the special branch.
Sent by the police?
Yeah, from home to join
yes.
him.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. When he was detained, he asked to see me. And I saw him with the comrade John Hlanhla, where he was saying, I've written my confession, here it is. But I just wanted to come and talk to you. I so hated you. If I found you sleeping when there was no one, I would cut your throat. He said, it took me time to confess, because I have been more loyal to the regime government rather than the ANC. But I thought it is important for me to tell the truth now. That agent knew a number of others who are in the movement, because he was one of highly regarded spies of the regime. As soon as he did confession, he was poisoned and died. But he had given the list of others because he knew them. And many comrades lost their lives because of the work of that person. He even made comrades inside the country to lose their lives if he was instructed to give cadres instructions to kill people inside. One of the comrades was in KZN that he did so. Send innocent comrades to that comrade to say he's a spy when he was not a spy. Much as I have a view about spies and everything, but we had a code to operate that we handle this with care. But I think other spies who have been sitting around, sebeiketlile manje. Sebehleli ukuthi hawu sebenza umathanda. You know, just recently there was a function in Durban where the Maskandis wanted to fill the stadium. Some of those people, one day you'll know, they planned to murder me inside the stadium. And I know them. They planned to murder me.
Is this a reference to some of those people who may have appeared in the list that was left behind by the spy who was poisoned?
Some of them.
Okay, all right.
What saved my life is because I did not go there. This is an attempt on my life. There have been people sent from outside the country to come and kill me. But I've been patient, not saying a thing. But I have been provoked to the last degree. Yes, I've got the list and other lists as well. But that's not the business of me to deal with those matters here. But it's important. It's important for me so that you can see the behavior of people. What made Comrade Nwako to behave the way he did here, saying that I've auctioned the country? In the NEC, I just do what I like. He's carrying out an instruction. He was recruited when he was a student in Lesotho to be a spy.
please. Let's not clap. Thank you.
And he finds it very comfortable to come here and say, this Zuma, he was a good man. And I've known him for years that it's what he is, but I've never shown it. Because I thought he will change. Some other people have made themselves very nice, joined something called 101, and said a lot of things about me. Some of them that I commanded, some of them who commanded other comrades, but they are not known. And perhaps people will realize why there seem to be some problems. Somehow, somewhere. I think it will be important for people to behave correctly so that they don't cause problems. Some of the people I've loved, I've worked with them, trusted them. Even when I got to know, because I thought maybe they've left the wrong ways. The critical point is that the plan made way back has been working, and our enemies, in fact, have recruited more even than during the struggle. That's why you will see things when people are doing things in the manner in which doesn't look like ANC. It is some of them who influence that there should be this commission to bury Zuma. And I'm sure in the discussions as we go, I will be looking at things and saying, what else? I want peace. I want harmony. And that is why even those who have done things to me, I'm not feeling bitter about them. But some of them have even collected information, gave it to the writers who write books about me. Maybe at some point in the discussions here, I might come back to this issue in the commission, while the commission still continues. But I thought I should deal with one who has said to me, I've auctioned the country to the Guptas. Others have said things out there, but the time is there to deal with matters. All I'm saying, it's important for you, Chair, to realize that some of the things we're dealing with are very big and very deep. And it's important to know there is a plan that is being implemented against Zuma, and it gets in many ways. I must come here and answer questions about people of who perhaps, I don't know what questions are there, but the ones I've heard so far, I thought there's somebody who's going to say Zuma is hiding something with the Guptas or something. So that gives you what is it that I've done wrong. But it's important to bring Zuma here so that the narrative grows. Here is Zuma being questioned about his relationship with Guptas, etc. What's wrong with the relationship? Nothing wrong. And then, but many other people are friends to these comrades. They're not the issue. The issue is Zuma. Now, as you collect the information and you walk towards making conclusions, I thought that this is important that I say. Partly because some people are part of the plot to kill me, perhaps it is important that before I die, I tell the story. I'm telling you, if I can tell you the details of the plan to kill me in Durban was detailed. Detailed. It involved people brought from outside of the country. Labo kuthiwa amadela kufa, suicidal bombers, were supposed to do to me. And perhaps that will make you realize that for me, the matter is bigger than it meets the eye. And I've been respectful to comrades and to people I know. Maybe I've reached a point where that must now take another backseat. They concoct everything just to deal with Zuma. As part of this narrative, there is a book, oh sorry, the book is there, there is a film which is being made about the case that took place and I was found not guilty. Rape case. There is a journalist in South Africa who is doing that one. Reddy Hlabi. It's being done outside to say Zuma is a rapist. It fits in this narrative. She has been doing it in the media where she works, great deal. Because this narrative must be done. The question I ask them, these people who participate in it, where do they get the idea that Zuma must be put down? Who instructs them? Perhaps it will be important to look into this matter many times to say, what can we do? We have a country to save, but there are people who don't care, who want to give negativity in terms of what we do in this country. I've resigned as asked by my National Executive Committee, and I'm staying there, far away. But even when I'm staying there, there is a plot to kill me. When I'm no longer in any activity, except attending the National Executive Committee meetings of the ANC, as a member of the ANC. Well, as the commission goes, I might come back with other matters, but I thought it's just important at this point to take the matter up to here. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zuma. I think it is good that you decided to tell the Commission what you have told it, because as your counsel indicated, the Commission had indicated that part of what it would like to hear is your side of the story, and that then there would be also questions. So it was important that you be given that opportunity. We are at 1:05. We will take the lunch break now, and we will resume at 2:15. We adjourn.